Welcome back to Session 0. Today I'm taking Willem, the fighter I created in yesterday's video, through a random dungeon. Now, of course, I'm using Deck of Many Dungeons by Axebane, and my goal, my quest, is to map level 1 of this dungeon for Torgal Lancaster, who will pay me 225 silver for that map. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, I may continue deeper into the dungeon to get more silver, because silver is what I need to level up. I'm starting at level 1. I have d6 plus 1 damage. I have 5 hit points right now. And we're going to start mapping dungeon level 1. So the main thing is I do have these dice over here. I'm going to say I light a torch. That is one of my 8 torches. And most of the time, the consequence or danger or risk is not apparent. In this scenario, because I am trying to map this dungeon, the risk is time, because I have a limited number of torches and they run out. So if I roll a 7 to 9, I do the thing I'm attempting to do, but there's still some cost or compromise involved. So that would be 1 time. If I roll 6 minus, I don't do what I'm attempting to do, and it takes a long time. So that'll be 2 time. And when this counts down to 0, that torch goes out, leaving me in the dark. So we're going to do this trying to preserve torches, but also accomplish my goal of mapping the first level of this dungeon. So we're going to get into this dungeon, and the very first thing we do is map this first room. I have parchment, I have pen and ink, and we're going to try to draw this room out. Basically, I think that's probably a wisdom roll, as he is, going from corner to corner, counting out steps as he's drawing this map. So I'm going to make a roll plus whiz to see how well I map out this first room. Okay, that's an 8. I do successfully map out this room, but it takes some time. My torch goes down a little bit. We're going to go into the next room. Let me shuffle this really quickly. We're going to go to my right, the character's left. And we get a Terminator right away. So I'm going to walk into this room. I see a longish hallway with a lock at the end. I see a couple rooms on either side. So how well do I map out this first area of this card? 8, that's a 9. Again, I map it out, but it takes time and my torch burns down. Now let's go into this first room, and now I'm not only mapping, I'm also looking around the room, seeing if there's any kind of loot in here. That's another 9. It does use my torch, and I do find some loot. I'm going to roll on this item table to see what kind of loot I get. I get some armor. Its type is, it's glowing. Glowing armor can be really, really good in a dungeon where I'm relying on torches. It was made by halflings, which tells me it's probably pretty small. It's not going to fit me, and it would be worth only 100. Now this says gold pieces, but I am changing gold to silver. It's worth 100 silver. So armor, I'm writing this down, 100 silver. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go into this room. I see that there's a bed in there. I also see that there is 3d6, and again, I'll call it silver instead of gold. So automatically, I get 12 from that. So I'm going to put that here kind of in the middle. 12 silver found. Now, I'm going to look around the room, see if I can find anything else while also mapping the room. Okay, that's an 8-9. That's another point off of my torch, but I mapped the room, and I'm going to find some more treasure. This time it is a weapon. It's magical weapon. That's very nice to see. Made by the elves, and its worth would be 500 gold. So magical weapon, elves, worth 500 silver. And if I can get someone to buy that off of me for 500, that's halfway to the next level. Now, did I also find that secret doorway there? I'm going to consult the oracle. And as I mentioned in the last video, odd is yes, even is no, a spade is a but, and a heart is an and. So that is odd. Yes, I do find the secret door, and there's no modifier to that, no qualifier. It's just yes and. So on top of finding that magical weapon, I didn't write weapon, I also find that secret door. Now, a big question is, do I want to go ahead and use that weapon? I don't know what its magical effects are, so I'm afraid to just swing it around. I don't know what it's going to do for me, and to tell the truth, I don't have any enemies yet, so I don't necessarily need to try out this weapon. What I am going to do is move along this secret corridor, mapping it as I go, and we get into this really big room that has a lot of gold. This is 1d8 times 10 silver, and 1d8 times 100 copper. So let's roll 1d8 times 10. Okay, that's 50 silver. And silver is 1d8 times 100 plus 100 copper. And 100 copper is going to relate to 10 silver. So I'm just going to add 10 more silver there. So now let's map out this large area. 6, 7, I do have a +1. So again, I do it, but it takes a little more time than I like it to. Now I come to this lock. This door back into this hallway is locked. And I have a pretty good sense as I'm drawing this map that this is just the hallway on the other side. So I think rather than attempting to break that lock or open that lock, I'm going to go back through the secret passageway and back into this hallway. From there, I can move back to this room, and we're going to travel in this direction. I get another Terminator. This first level of the dungeon is not very long. I go into this door, and then when I go into this room, there is going to be an enemy, because I'm going to roll a d6 and add my level, and that's either going to be, a number between 2 and 7. So I will definitely find either a swarm of rats or a dretch. I'm going to go into that room, and there is a swarm of rats. So I think they're going to swarm at me immediately. I open the door. They maybe haven't seen anyone in a long time, so they come at me right away. So I think what I want to do here is try to dodge them, like they're running and they jump at me, and I want to try to dodge that. That's going to be a dex, and with my athletics, I feel like I'm going to be able to use the athleticism to re-roll 6 minuses. The danger here, the risk, is that they get a bite in despite me dodging. So that's 6, that's a 7. They are going to get a little bit of damage in. I also want to roll their hit points. They're level 1, so I'm going to roll 2 dice and drop the lowest. So they only have 3 hit points. That's nice to know. They're going to come in, and instead of getting a d6 on me, they're only going to get d4 damage. They bite hard. That 4 is reduced by my armor, which is 2, but they still do 2 damage, taking me down to 3. I'm already down to 3 HP. Now that they have attacked me, I'm going to take a swipe back at them. I think I've got, my torch in one hand and my hand axe in the other. I'm kind of swinging wildly, trying to hit them with one or the other. That's going to be +2 in strength. That's 6, 7, 8. I do get the hit off, but again, they're going to get a little bit of damage on me. I'm going to roll my dice to damage. It's D6 + 1. It's only 2, which means they're still going to have 1 hit point, and they do get a bite back at me. That's 1 minus my 2 armor is 0. They're not able to hit me on that one. Now I think we are kind of circling each other in the room, and I'm just going to make a last-ditch attack on them. Roll +2, again swinging my torch around. Okay, that's 9, that's 10, 11. 11 is a full hit. I take no retaliation from them, and they only have 1 hit point left, so whatever I roll there knocks them out. So I crush that swarm of rats, and for that I get 20 XP. Now this is a long room, and I am going to do my mapping thing, and I'm going to be looking around while I map. Okay, that is a 6. Not only is this section of the map pretty poor, maybe because of all the stuff, along the walls and in the corners, it also takes me a lot longer than it should have. So I'm down to 5 on this first torch. I haven't mapped this area effectively, so I need to try again. Let's do that one more time, plus whiz, and that's a 13. Now, especially since it's my second time, I get a really good sense of this room, and I map it properly. I do notice that this cupboard, whatever it is in the corner, is really difficult to open. I'm not even going to try to pick it. I'm just going to note it on the map. Let's go into this room, and the first thing I see is just a huge pile of coin. So we're going to roll 1d8 times 10 silver. It's another 80 silver. I love it. All right, I'm going to map that room. I don't think the danger here is going to be time because this is a small room. I think the danger is maybe there's more rats lurking around. So 7, 8. I do map the room, and there are more rats hanging around that I didn't notice. Maybe they'll attack me when I go out of this area, maybe when I go into the next room, whatever the case may be. I walk back out into here. Do I see rats in here, or are there any rats in this area? Odd is yes, even is no. Even is no, but. No, but you can hear them. I think I can hear them in this room. There's rats in this room. So now I have to make the decision, do I want to go into this room knowing that there are rats in there because I do need to get a good map? Or do I just sketch the area in and say, nothing of note in this room? I have 3 HP. I think I'm going to go in despite the rats. So I'll go into this room in order to map it, and the rats there attack me immediately. I'm going to try to dodge out of the way. That'll be plus dex with athletics. That's going to turn a 6 to 9, or a 6 minus into a 7 to 9. Well, that is 6 minus. It turns it into 7 of 9. I dodge out of the way, but they're still going to get some damage on me. And maybe this damage is me running into the wall trying to dodge. It's a 3 minus my 2 armor. I do take 1 damage. I'm down to 2 hit points. Now I'm going to, again, wave my sword, or my hand axe, wave my torch. 8 plus 2 is 10. That is a big hit. I'm going to say that these rats have the same hit points. They have 3 hit points, just like the other swarm of rats. So a 10 is full hit. I don't take any risk, and I do 4 damage. That knocks out this swarm of rats. I get 20 more XP. Now I'm able to look around the room. That's a 6 plus 1 is 7. I am able to map this part of the room out, and I get a 1. Or I should say, and I lose a time. That torch starts to burn down even more. So what I'm going to do now since I'm already running low on hit points, I'm going to rest on one of these beds, and I'm going to push this table and chair against the door just to make sure nothing can come into the room while I'm in here. So I'm going to rest, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to snuff that torch out and light it back again later, and I'm going to rest a little while. When I am resting, I'm going to go ahead and eat one of my rations, and I'm a healer, or I have the heal skill, so I'm going to heal in this case. I'm going to roll my hit dice of 3d6, and I get to add an additional one because I am attended to by a healer who happens to be me. So I'm going to roll these and keep one because I'm level 1, and I get a 6. So now, even though I only started with 5 hit points, I'm up to 6 now. Feeling refreshed, I move that desk and chair out of the way, come back into the room, and I'm going to light that same torch back. So I blew it out just so that it wasn't burning while I was resting, however long that was. Now I wonder if I still hear rats. Are there still rats in here? That's a yes. That's a yes with no qualifier. So there are still rats in here, but I don't see any off the top of my head, so they're not going to attack me. I'm just going to move out back into the main room. Now, this has an easy lock. I go up to the door. Yeah, it's a little bit locked. I'm going to mess around with the lock. I'm going to roll dex with that to see if I can pick it, in a rudimentary way. And now, as I'm at this lock, I'm realizing maybe I should have been looking in some of these different areas for a key, which might open some of these doors. It's too late now, but I'm going to try to pick this with dex. That's a 5. I'm not able to pick the lock, and it takes me a lot of time. Now I think I'm just going to bash through the door, breaking that lock, which is a little bit sad, but I've got to do it. I'm going to do this with strength. The risk here is that I hurt myself. Like the wall is so dense, or rather the door is so dense, so thick, that ramming into it with my shoulder is actually going to hurt me. So let's roll plus strength. That's 5, 6, 7. That is a success. That is success with risk. So it did hurt me a little bit. Ooh, 4 minus my 2 armor is 2. I do take 2 damage, but I bashed that door open. All right, now we're going to continue south. And this is a Terminator. So with this Terminator, I actually ignore this card and replace it with one of my kings. Well, it'll be the King of Hearts, I guess. That is a good one, though, because there is some gold in here. And I keep saying gold because gold is on the card. I mean to say silver. I'm doing this. I'm replacing gold with silver. So before I go up and grab that silver, let's map the room. That's 9. That's a 10. That is perfect. So I was able to do that so quickly, I didn't burn any of my torch down. Now I'm going to go grab that 3d6 silver. That's another 11 silver. And I'm going to look around the room as well. So I was going around to map it. Now I'm going to look around the room, see if I can find anything useful. That's 6, 7. That does take some time, but I find some loot. What is that loot going to be? Am I going to roll on this table again? Or do I just find some gold that is hidden? So I'm going to ask the Oracle, is there an item or just silver? That's the wrong question to ask. Is there loot in here, an item? Okay, yes and but. So yes, but. Yes, there is an item. And that item is a ring. That's very nice. So I do find a ring in here, but I'm going to say whatever I roll on its value is actually going to be lower. So it'll be d6 minus 1 when I roll its value. The type, it is unknown. I don't know what this ring is made of, and it was crafted by halflings. That makes sense because the armor I found earlier was made by halflings. Value is only 100. So ring, halflings, 100 silver. All right, now I have met my quest goal. I have mapped level 1. The real question is, do I want to go ahead and continue into level 2? I want silver to level up. Right now, I have gotten 80, 102, 152, 163 silver. That's not a whole lot. Plus 40 in XP. Now, I do have some items that might be sellable, but I have to turn those into money. So I think I am going to go ahead and go down to the next level of the dungeon. So I'm going to shuffle everything here back into this deck. Remove my king. And I'm going to shuffle all of my aces together and deal another ace. Now, I'm not going to use the quest idea on this ace. I'm just going to use it as a room. Ace of hearts. So I stop here, or I start here. And what is the sound in here? Faint music. I hear music somewhere down here. That's interesting. So I am going to go ahead, and even though I haven't been commissioned to map this level, I'm going to map this level as well in hopes of getting more money from Torrig, or rather Torgal, who is paying me to map the dungeon. So I'm going to, first things first, I'm going to use this torch to light a new torch, just so that I don't have to worry about time so much. Then I'm going to go ahead and go around this room, mapping the room. All right, where's my other D6 bone die? There it is. So let's map this corridor. 6 plus 1 is 7. I do lose some time, but I get this mapped. We're going to go in this direction. And I want to ask really quick, is this the direction the music is coming from? No, it's not. So now let's go to this room. It is a Terminator already. Interesting hallway here, and there is a door. I'm going to go ahead and go through the door. Now, there is an Axebane in here. That's a really interesting monster. And it has 3 hit points. Not bad. But with that basically natural weapon, I'm going to give him +1 to attack. So he's going to attack at d6 +1. Now, as I walk into the room, I'm going to kind of use the die of fate here to determine if this thing has even noticed me yet. The lower the roll is, the worse it is for me. So if I roll high, he hasn't heard me yet. If I roll low, he has heard me and starts moving in my direction. Okay, that's high. He has not heard me yet. So now I have a question, because this looks like a little bridge over this chasm with no railing. I don't really want to get halfway across there and have this thing attack me. So I think I'm going to make a lot of noise here in this corner to draw him in. And maybe I'm going to stand kind of right on this corner. And my hope is, as he comes at me, when he goes to make his attack, I'm going to try to parry the attack in a way that pushes him down into this cavern. The danger there is he is going to get a full attack on me, and if I roll a 6-, that's even worse. I'm going to say he gets to re-roll the damage if it's a low roll. So he is coming at me. He's coming down this little bridge walkway, and I'm going to try to parry his axe beak attack at me. That's +1. 9. Holy cow. That's amazing. That's a 10. So not only do I do it, I don't take any damage at all from him. I parry in a way that allows me to push him down into this cavern. That is an additional 20 XP. All right. This room looks like there's some stuff over here, so I'm going to first take some time to map it out. That's +1. That's a 3. I don't do a good enough job. I think I'm really worried about this bridge here. So it takes me a long time to kind of get my nerve up to get all the way across this bridge to examine. So finally I do that, and then I'm going to try to map the rest of it. Okay, that's a 10. I succeed in getting this entire room mapped, and let's look around on this area, see if there's any goodies over here. Again, I'm not worried about enemies. The risk is time. So this will be a whiz roll again. That's 6, 7. It does take 1 time as I'm looking around, and I do find a little bit of silver. I'm going to say there's 2d6 silver in here. There's 9 silver. I'll take it. All right, so now I come back through this hallway. And if this is another Terminator, I am going to discard it and get a hallway that might split off or something. So let's move in this direction. And it's not a Terminator, it's just a strange hallway. And no matter what I roll here, I won't get an enemy. So I'm just going to come into this area, try to map it out. Again, the risk is time. I take too much time and don't accomplish anything. So I've got to try again. I'm going to pace back and forth, counting my steps. I think I've got a fear of something being in here, and that's why I can't get this mapped very effectively. I keep losing my count. So I'm going to continue to try to map this area. Again, a terrible failure. And I'm going to try it one more time, and if I fail again, I'm going to just do a quick sketch of this area and move on. That's a 7, so I do lose 1 time, but I finally get it mapped. Let's go to the next room. And I do get a Terminator, and I'm fine since I got that hallway with this being an actual Terminator. I did mention in my last video that this dungeon actually has 4 levels. I think I'm going to stop after this 2nd level, though. Nothing interesting in here, but I do have to map this room. I'm going to go ahead and go into this room, try to map it out quickly, and I think before I even try to map it out, I'm going to use this torch to light a new one. That way I'm not going to end up in the dark. Let's map this with Wiz. 9, 10. I mapped this room really, really well and don't even have to expend any of my torch. So that's level 2. At this point, I've successfully mapped level 1 and level 2 of this dungeon. Hopefully, Torgal is going to give me a little extra money for that. So now I'm going to go back through these rooms. Is there anything in this room this time? I shouldn't ask that because I want yes to be the good thing. So, is this room empty of monsters? Yeah, no, it's not. There is a monster. It's going to be a level 1, and I think there's going to be another Axebeak. Maybe there was another Axebeak in here that I didn't notice, and it followed me. It has 3 hit points, and I am now engaged with another Axebeak. This one I'm going to have to attack, but because I know the layout of this hallway pretty well now that I've mapped it, I'm not going to be surprised by him. I kind of hear it, and I'm going to get to attack first. So I'm going to roll plus strength. That's 6, 7, 8. I do take a little bit of damage back. 2 just hits my armor, but I get my attack in. It's going to be d6 plus 1, and he only has 3 hit points. 6 damage. This axe beak goes down, and that's 20 more experience. So I make it back into here, and since there was nothing in this room to begin with, I'm not going to see if there's something here now. I do have to ask at this point, where did the music come from? It came from down below. So I'm going to, in this room on my map, mark that I heard music down below this stairway. So now I'm going to move back up to level 1. Now in level 1, I'm not going to reset up that level, but I am going to ask, do I avoid any entanglements as I make my way out of the dungeon? Yes, I do. So now I get out of the dungeon. I'm out of the dungeon at this point with 2 of the 4 levels mapped, and I have to get back to town with my goods. So on the way back to town, I'm going to ask the Oracle, do I run into a traveling merchant? No, and not only is it not a merchant, it's a bandit. I run into a bandit along the road who might try to steal the things I have. It has 6 hit points, this bandit. So this could be a harrowing experience. I am coming up to him expecting him to be a merchant, but as I get close, he lunges out at me. So am I able to use my athletics to dodge out of the way of this bandit's attack? 6, 7, yes I am, but he does, just like some of those other monsters, get a little bit of a hit on me. That's 2, but it just bounces off my armor. Now I am going to try to take this bandit down. I'm not happy that he has tried to take what's mine, so I'm going to use my hand axe and just go for the face. That's 7, 8, 9. I do get my damage through, but he's going to get a little bit of damage through as well. 4 minus my 2 armor is 2. So I'm down to 2 hit points, and I should have healed before I came out of the dungeon. I've hit, my damage is d6 plus 1, and I need this to be a 5 or a 6, or the fight continues. Boom, 6, 7. I deal 7 damage to this level 1 bandit and knock him out. So that was the trip back to town. Now I get to town. And Axebane does have some micro map towns, which I've ordered, but I don't have them in yet. So I don't know what this town looks like at the moment, but I am going to look around town and see if there are any halflings in town who would either buy this armor and ring from me or know someone I can sell it to. Is there a halfling? No, there's not. Is there a general store that might purchase these? Jack is a 1, so that is a yes, and spade makes it but. Yes, but there is a general store in town, but he doesn't trade in halfling goods. Does he know where I can find some halflings? A queen is a 12. No, but the librarian in town is a halfling. He's not going to buy anything from you, but he may be able to tell me. So I do have this magical weapon of the elves worth 500 silver. Will this general store buy it from me? No, but he knows someone in another town who will. So right now I'm stuck with these goods. I can't get rid of them, so I can't get their silver value. Now that's not actually what the rules say. The rules say you get 1 XP for each silver piece worth of treasure or coin you loot. So I could just turn this into XP. And I think because I've gotten the runaround, no one can purchase any of this from me in town. I am just going to go ahead and convert that directly into XP. So that's worth 700 XP. And I think I'm going to be just a little bit short of 1,000. So I've got 800 in XP here, 880, 902, 952, 972. I'm at 972 experience. And I need 27 more, 28 more to level up. But, you know who is in town? Torgal Lancaster, who can buy this map from me. That is what I went into the dungeon to do, to map that for Torgal. So we're going to meet up with Torgal. He's a rogue. Is he going to try to betray me? Yes, with no qualifier. So he's going to try to betray me. As I walk up to him, I say, using charisma, kind of thinking this guy's a rogue, he's going to try to betray me. I'm going to go into it with an attitude of, I know you're going to betray me, but I have what you asked me for. I'm going to roll charisma, see if that puts Torgal in a different mindset. That's a 10. That's a full success. So Torgal replies with something like, oh, you think you know me, huh? I'm not like every other rogue. He's kind of upset that you have stereotyped him like other rogues. So is he going to pay me the 225 that he promised? No, and he's going to try to talk me down to only 100. That's not good for me. And actually, what I'm going to do here, no, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to say he tries to talk me down to 100. I'm not doing it for 100. I almost got killed. I'm down to 2 hit points. And I'm going to say, hey, not only did I map the first level out for you, I got the second level too. So I think now this map is worth 300 silver. This gives him something to think about. I'm going to roll with charisma to see if I can not only change his mind about going down to 100, but now raise it up even more because I've done such a good mapping. That is 9. So there is a little bit of risk there, a little bit of compromise. He's not going to go all the way up to 300, but he says he'll do 275, and I say, do it. I'll take it. So he is going to give me 275 silver for the map. I now have 1,247. That does get me up to level 2, and my next level is at 3,000. Now some of that, I'm going to say, some of that is still coin. I'm going to say 247 of that is still coin because I do want to upgrade my equipment. But that is the first quest completed, and I do have the opportunity to go back into that dungeon if I want to and loot it some more. Let's go ahead and level up. At level 2, my hit dice is at +1. So now I have 46. And if I'm healing, I get to roll an additional 1. Let's go ahead and roll hit dice right now. Because now at level 2, I get to keep 2 dice. So 46, keep 2. That's awful. I am stuck with 6 hit points with 46, keep 2. All right, that's where we will start tomorrow's, or not tomorrow's section. That's where we'll start next Saturday as I continue to play Willem using Deck of Many Dungeons. I think in that session, I am going to go ahead, finish up this dungeon, and see where we go from there. All right, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.